Professor Ernest P. Whipplethorpe, a man who knew more about quantum physics than the average dog knew about squirrels, was having a very bad day. His latest experiment, designed to prove the existence of interdimensional travel using only a toaster oven and a rubber band, had hit a snag. Namely, it wasn't working. Ernest sighed, adjusting his spectacles. He prodded a tangle of wires with a screwdriver. Sparks flew. The toaster oven shuddered, and then, with a sound like 1,000 puppies barking in unison, a shimmering portal erupted in the middle of his basement. "Good heavens," Ernest muttered, peering cautiously at the swirling vortex of light. It pulsed with an eerie green glow, emitting a low hum that vibrated in his teeth. He grabbed his trusty umbrella, a precaution he took against everything from unexpected rain showers to alien invasions. Taking a deep breath, Ernest stepped towards the unknown. After all, what could be stranger than a Tuesday afternoon spent arguing with a grant committee about the merits of his research? The first thing that hit Ernest was the smell. It wasn't unpleasant per se, just intense. A pungent aroma of wet dog, leather, and something vaguely reminiscent of bacon wafted through the air. He blinked, his eyes adjusting to the light. Gone was his cluttered basement laboratory. In its place stretched a vast, verdant field bathed in the warm glow of 2 suns. And standing before him, tails wagging furiously, was a group of dogs. Not just any dogs, mind you, but dogs of extraordinary size and intelligence. They were dressed in miniature waistcoats, their fur groomed to perfection. Ernest stared, dumbfounded. One particularly distinguished-looking bulldog, sporting a monocle and a rather fetching tartan bow tie, stepped forward. "Greetings, Your Highness," the bulldog boomed, his voice surprisingly deep and resonant. "We've been expecting you." Ernest, still clutching his umbrella, stammered, "Expecting me? I rather think you have the wrong fellow. I'm just a humble scientist here for... Well, I'm not entirely sure why I'm here, actually." The dogs exchanged knowing glances. The prophecy, a regal-looking Afghan hound with flowing silver fur, breathed. "It speaks of the hairless one, come to deliver us from the shadows." Ernest ran a hand over his own decidedly hair-free head. "Hairless, you say? Well, I suppose I can't argue with that." He chuckled nervously. "But a prophecy? Deliverance? I'm afraid there's been a bit of a misunderstanding." The dogs, however, were not to be dissuaded. They ushered Ernest towards a magnificent city in the distance, its towers gleaming gold in the double sunlight. As they walked, they explained the legend of the hairless king, a benevolent ruler who had vanished centuries ago, promising to return in their hour of need. Ernest, swept up in a whirlwind of parades, banquets, and endless belly rubs, found himself reluctantly settling into his role as the prophesied king. The dogs were a charming bunch, eager to please and surprisingly adept at running a civilization. Yet, beneath the surface of joyous reunions and celebratory biscuits, Ernest sensed an undercurrent of unease. Whispers followed him down the palace corridors, hushed conversations abruptly ending when he entered a room. He noticed the dogs casting nervous glances towards the shadows, their tails drooping slightly. One evening, while enjoying a cup of tea, the dogs, surprisingly, had excellent taste in tea, Ernest confronted his loyal butler, a dignified basset hound named Winston. "Winston," he began, "something is troubling you. The others, too, what is it that you're not telling me?" Winston hesitated, ears drooping further. "Your Highness," he finally said, his voice low, "there are those who doubt your claim to the throne. Whispers of a rival faction, the Shadow Pack, have reached the palace. They say you're an impostor, here to usurp the throne." Section 5. Crown or Chaos? A conundrum. Ernest, never one for confrontation, felt a familiar pang of anxiety. He had stumbled into a situation far more complicated than a faulty experiment. He missed his lab, his books, the comforting predictability of his research. More importantly, he didn't want the responsibility of ruling a kingdom, especially one teetering on the brink of unrest. He paced his chambers, the weight of the canine kingdom pressing down on him. Could he simply abandon these dogs, leaving them to face their problems alone? He thought of the genuine joy in their eyes, the hope they saw in him, the hairless one. Could he turn his back on that? The decision gnawed at him. It was a choice between his old life, safe and familiar, and this strange new world fraught with danger and uncertainty. But there was something alluring about the possibility of making a real difference, of helping these dogs who had so readily accepted him. Section 6. Leading the Pack a Crash Course in Canine Politics. Ernest made his decision. He would stay, at least for now. He wouldn't abandon the dogs in their time of need. He threw himself into his unexpected role, studying canine law, attending council meetings, and learning the intricacies of chew toy economics. He quickly discovered that ruling a kingdom, even one populated by dogs, was no walk in the park. There were treaties to be negotiated, trade disputes to be settled, and the ever-present threat of the shadow pack looming over everything. Ernest, however, surprised everyone, even himself. His scientific mind, accustomed to analysing complex problems, proved surprisingly adept at navigating the world of canine politics. He implemented new agricultural policies, established a system of universal health care, for dogs, of course, and even managed to negotiate a peace treaty with the neighbouring kingdom of felines, though the less said about that particular diplomatic mission the better. Section 7. The enemy unveiled more than just fleas in the fur. As Ernest delved deeper into the kingdom's affairs, he discovered a disturbing truth. The Shadow Pack wasn't just a band of disgruntled canines. They were being manipulated, their rebellion fueled by a more sinister force, a group of cunning cats. It turned out that centuries ago the dogs and cats had shared the planet in relative peace. But a power struggle had erupted, culminating in the cats being banished to a remote island. The cats, it seemed, were now seeking to reclaim their lost dominance. The revelation shocked the canine kingdom. The cats, masters of manipulation and deceit, had infiltrated the highest levels of canine society, sowing seeds of discord and inciting rebellion. Ernest, now more determined than ever to protect his adopted kingdom, rallied the dogs to his cause. Section 8. A ruler's resolve, tail wags and teeth bared. The final battle was swift and decisive. Ernest, armed with his trusty umbrella and a newfound sense of authority, led the charge against the Shadow Pack and their feline puppet masters. The dogs, inspired by their hairless king, fought with a ferocity born of loyalty and a deep love for their kingdom. The cats, caught off guard by Ernest's unexpected leadership and the dogs' unwavering resolve, were quickly subdued. Their plans foiled, they were once again banished to their island, this time with stricter measures in place to prevent future mischief. Victory was declared and the canine kingdom erupted in joyous celebration. Ernest, hailed as a hero, stood amidst the cheering dogs, a sense of accomplishment washing over him. He had faced the unknown, embraced the unexpected, and emerged victorious. Section 9. Legacy of the Hairless King, a new leash on life. With peace restored to the canine kingdom, Ernest knew it was time to return home. He cherished his time as their king, but his heart belonged to his lab. As he stepped back through the portal, the dogs showered him with heartfelt goodbyes. "Thank you," Winston whispered, his tail thumping softly. Ernest smiled. He had become the king they needed. He returned to his basement, pockets filled with dog biscuits, heart brimming with memories. He glanced at the portal, a sense of wonder filling him. The portal flickered and vanished, leaving Ernest alone with the echo of barking laughter. He smiled, knowing the legend of the hairless one would live on in the canine kingdom.